Hello.
Hi. Stand up.
It's a good start. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bestman Speech. My name is Alex, and I'd like to kick things off by echoing the thank yous that James gave in his speech earlier. But I would also like to add one more of my own, and that is to Bod, I'm not going to call him James, Bod, for asking me to be his best man, and allowing me the privilege of being the only thing between you and what will be a delicious meal. Now, call me a softie, but I've had the 3rd of June circled in my calendar, and I've been looking forward to today for a long time. Everybody knew it was coming, and as the weeks and months passed, I got more and more excited. And now finally, after all of the anticipation and 4 years of waiting, it's here. It has arrived. Today is the first match of the Lions Tour in New Zealand. Anyway, back to God. That's 13-7. 13-7. When he asked me to be his best man, I was deeply honoured. But I must also admit, a little bit nervous about this speech. That being said, probably not quite as nervous as Bod is right now. But then I thought back to all of the incredible memories that I've shared with Bod over the years, and his qualities as a person and as a friend. And I realised I had more than enough material to work with. Now, in case you're in any doubt about the type of man that Sophie has just agreed to spend the rest of her life with, and I'm pretty sure he's still kitchen stuff like that, I thought it would be a good idea to run you through a few of the things that make him the person he is today. The first thing I'd like to cover, and to be honest, you're pretty familiar with this now, is that he's at heart he's a very family-oriented guy, but also a bit of a sensitive soul. And what more can a woman want than a family man in touch with his emotions? From chatting to his family, from an early age, there's always been a softer side to him. And apparently within the Bogle family, he's renowned as a bit of a crier. In fact, such is his reputation that in order to ease him into the shock of boarding school life at Charterhouse and getting used to being away from his family, Jane and Jeremy thought it'd be a good idea for him to try boarding school during his final year at prep. Bod, however, had other ideas about this and promptly ran away. He managed to make his way most of the way around London's South Circular in an attempt to get back to his family. After some gentle persuasion, he was convinced to give it another go, and later in the year was packed off to Charterhouse with tears streaming down his face. Oh, thank you, Sophie. The story continues with poor little Bod having a good cry each Sunday night before being dropped off back at school. In fact, there were so many stories that I had to ask just each member of the family's favourite one, and I've gone for one that Tots mentioned to me. Picture the scene. The Bogle family have just been away on a particularly good family safari holiday. Not very far into the flight on the way home, Bod was once again in floods of tears. And when asked what the matter was, he spluttered between sobs, "I've just had such a great time! I don't want to go home!" This theme continued, with Bod having a good sob before setting off on his gap year after school, and then once again before starting his economics degree at Southampton University. And I'm pleased to say, whilst he remained relatively calm in the church, he didn't let us down during his speech tonight. I first met Bod at the beginning of university, where we were in the same halls. And as soon as I set eyes on him, in his Musto sailing jacket, his 2 collars turned up, his dodgy bleached, slightly ginger hair, it was clear to me that we had shared interests. And as a result, we very quickly became friends over a love of sailing, snake bites, and barely going to any economics lectures. Now, the start of university brings me on to the second characteristic of Bod's that I'd like to bring to your attention. And that is, he's slightly OCD and likes things to be very spotless and well ordered. As everyone is reminded by their mother, Jane told Bod to make sure that he kept his university room clean and tidy. And the good news for Sophie is that he clearly listens to advice from the women in his life. During our first year, Bod seemed to take his mum's words of wisdom to another level, as he seemed to be constantly hoovering his room. It might explain all those missed lectures and the 13% you got in that exam that time. Either that or he's having a good cry again. With our rooms and halls in the same corridor, I lost count of the number of times I wandered over to have a quick chat about that, important economic theory, and knocked on the door, only to have him answer, sweaty and red-faced, midway through one of his furious and frequent polishing sessions. So yeah, turns out he's a bit OCD about hygiene and cleanliness. And you've only got to ask Sophie about his strange pillow dance routine. Thirdly, and it won't come as a surprise to many of you, Bod is a very well-travelled young man. In fact, some might say that he's a bit of a globetrotter. However, on one of his many trips abroad, there was a small slip-up with the hygiene obsession. On an extended trip to India, having arrived at the airport, Bod made his way to where he was staying, dumped his bags, and being starving hungry after a long-haul flight, headed out to grab a delicious bite to eat from one of the local street vendors. Oh. Fast forward things, and 24 hours later, Bod's in hospital, diagnosed with dysentery, where he spent the next week before flying home early, having seen absolutely nothing of it. And the fourth thing I'd like to highlight about Bod's character is just quite how laid back he is. At university, after a night out, it was rare to see him surface before 4 p.m. And he seems to have carried this forward to his many annual ski trips. Frequently skipping the skiing part, waking up and going straight to bed, from bed to après, posing in the VIP section of the Folly Deuce with a magnum of rosé on the day. Although this could be because he stands no chance of keeping up with Sophie on the piece. Now, despite him being a complete poser, for some reason he actually seems to be quite a popular guy. And likes to keep a full social calendar, attending pretty much every society event going. Now, I wouldn't want to be accused of exaggeration or making something up for the purposes of a humorous Bestman speech. Fortunately for me, Bod likes to track his exploits on social media. In fact, he has used the Facebook check-in feature no fewer than 131 times over the past 5 years. His check-ins have included 9 days at Lord's or the Oval, 7 matches at Twickenham, 6 days at Wimbledon, Queen's Club or Roland Garros, 10 separate trips to the Alps, 15 different airport lounges. I think you get the gist. It's a miracle he manages to get any work done, such as the amount of time he seems to spend on the corporate gravy train. That being said, the upside for you, Sophie, is you'll never have any difficulty in keeping tabs on him. All you have to do is log into Facebook. Although, I do have to admit, that time you put a dent in both his credit card and his Porsche during your shopping trip to Vista Village may have been an overreaction to his check-in on our lads' ski trip last year. Now, I'm not normally known as a presumptuous person, but before my standing ovation, I'd like to say that it's clear to me, and I'm sure each and every one of you, that Sophie and James are quite simply put a perfect match. They complement each other brilliantly. Sophie's prowess on the piece, her style, sophistication and good looks, to Bod's questionable attempts at blending in with the locals. And if yesterday's efforts on the golf course are anything to go by, he's still got some way to go. In fact, he remains the only person I know to have hit his first shot off the tee box and ended up with the ball 15 metres behind him. So there you have it, Sophie. You've married an obsessively clean, sensitive, family-oriented, laid-back, obedient man of the world, who, from the look on his face as you walked into the cathedral earlier today, can hardly believe his luck and couldn't be happier to spend the rest of his life with you. On a serious note, Rod, you've been a spectacular mate. I've got a lot of very fond memories from over the years, and Samantha and I couldn't think of a better godfather for our daughter Phoebe.